Director Dan Trachtenberg just dropped a small but exciting tease about what's next for the Predator franchise. After the massive success of Prey in 2022 and Killer of Killers in 2025, his newest film, Predator Badlands, flips the script by making the Yautja the main character for the very first time. But ever since that announcement, fans have been wondering what direction the series will take next. In a recent chat with Screen Rant, Trachtenberg gave a small glimpse into what's coming, and it sounds like he might not be done hunting just yet. He said that the Yautja story was only just wrapped up a week or two ago, and when he was figuring out his next move after Prey, he had 3 equally exciting ideas: Badlands, Killer of Killers, and one more mystery project. The idea of tackling that third one, he admitted, would be an absolute thrill. At the same time, Trachtenberg made it clear he's not looking to live inside the Predator universe forever. He said he'd love to make more of these stories, but he also wants to branch out and work on movies that don't always involve alien hunters. Still, he admitted how rewarding it's been to create the kinds of films he's always wanted to make within this franchise, and if audiences love Badlands, he'd be more than happy to do more. Full reviews for Badlands are still on the way, but it's safe to say expectations are sky high after how critics praised Prey. The big question is how audiences will react this time. Both Prey and Killer of Killers were streaming hits, but no Predator movie has hit theaters since 2018, so no one really knows how much appetite there is for another big screen hunt. If Badlands lands well, it's unclear what the next project will be. Some think Trachtenberg's secret third movie might actually be Prey 2, which was officially confirmed in early 2024 and is rumored to bring back Amber Midthunder's Naru. But the fact that he didn't mention it by name could mean the next chapter of the franchise will be something completely different. The ending of Prey gave fans one of the coolest cliffhangers in the entire series: 3 Predator ships hovering over Naru's Comanche tribe. Prey 2 looks ready to pick up right at that moment, diving into how her people handle a new invasion after barely surviving the first. Now that Naru's become the war chief, her leadership and fighting skills are about to face their biggest test yet. And if Amber Midthunder officially returns, her story could bring real emotional weight to the franchise and finally break Predator's long-running habit of introducing new human characters every movie. Naru's win was hard-earned, but everyone knows these hunters never stay down for long. The first Prey was exactly what the franchise needed, a total adrenaline shot that brought back the raw tension and primal fear of the original classic. Most sequels tried to go bigger, louder, and bloodier, but Prey succeeded by going back to basics: one determined survivor against a single, relentless alien hunter. The 18th century setting was a bold move that paid off, mixing sci-fi horror with the atmosphere of a historical drama. Watching Naru, a young Comanche warrior, prove herself not just as a fighter, but as a leader gave the film real heart, and turned her into one of the most memorable protagonists the series has ever had. Midthunder's return is still the big mystery hanging over Prey 2. Her character's survival and rise to war chief make her the perfect anchor for a sequel, something the franchise has never really tried before. If she does come back, this could be the first time a Predator story continues with the same human lead, and that alone would make it stand out. Naru's battle may have ended in victory, but the war's far from over. The sequel could throw her against a more advanced Yautja, or maybe even an entire hunting party sent to avenge the fallen. And with Badlands exploring the Predator's future timeline, Prey 2 has the perfect chance to stay rooted in the 18th century and keep expanding the lore from the past. It's worth noting that the Predator franchise now has the freedom to completely break away from its traditional timeline and expand the lore in any direction, whether that's going deep into the past or far into the future. Movies like Prey and Killer of Killers proved just how much potential there is to explore new eras and tones while still keeping the spirit of the original alive. Both projects added real depth to the mythology and, more importantly, gave the series a much-needed shift in tone. The classic Predator movies were all about raw masculinity, military action, and that gritty 80s vibe: muscle, sweat, and explosions. Trachtenberg came in and completely flipped that formula. He gave the franchise something fresh, something it had been missing for years. Because let's be honest, by 2018, when Fox Studios tried to reboot the series with The Predator, they were playing it safe. The studio wanted a big blockbuster hit, but they didn't bring anything new to the table. No shift in genre, no creative risks, just an old old-school action throwback that felt stuck in the past. We all know how that turned out. It became one of Fox's biggest flops of that entire era. But then came Prey, and suddenly everything changed. Moving the Yautja to the 18th century and pitting it against a young Comanche warrior was a bold move that could have gone either way. It was a massive risk, but it paid off. Audiences loved it, critics praised it, and it felt like the franchise finally found its new identity. For me, Prey is the best thing that's happened to Predator in decades, and Killer of Killers, with its animated approach, kept that same creative energy going. Both projects feel like the foundation of a new era for the franchise, one that respects the original, but isn't afraid to evolve beyond it. Right now, multiple outlets are reporting that Arnold Schwarzenegger is set to return to the Predator franchise, and apparently it's not going to happen the way most people expect. Given Arnold's age, it's safe to say we probably shouldn't expect him back as Dutch in a full-on live-action role. Still, there are talks that Dutch could make a comeback in some form, possibly through animation, flashbacks, or even in an alternate timeline where he appears as a battle-worn veteran. Honestly, that kind of return makes sense. A full-on action role would be a stretch at this point, but a cameo or voice appearance, totally possible. It would be a fun, nostalgic touch, though nothing more than that. A small nod to the fans rather than a major story element. Trachtenberg likely understands that leaning too hard on nostalgia wouldn't help the series move forward. Dutch's return would probably just be for marketing, a recognizable face for the trailer and posters, but creatively, it wouldn't change much. The thing is, the Predator franchise is finally going through a real rebirth. As long as the filmmakers keep pushing new ideas and exploring fresh settings and characters, the series has a solid shot at reclaiming its spot among today's big sci-fi universes. For years, Predator was seen as a niche property. Budgets were modest, expectations were low, and after 2018's The Predator, the brand's reputation took a serious hit. Yet, despite all that, the creature itself, the mask, the voice clicks, the iconic quotes remains one of the most recognizable symbols in movie history. That's why the new creative direction works so well. Prey reinvented the formula by moving the story to the 18th century, while Killer of Killers expanded it even further, showing how humans and Yautja have crossed paths across multiple eras, from feudal Japan to the World Wars. The idea almost feels like Assassin's Creed. You can drop a predator into any historical period and it instantly works. Ancient Greece? Imagine a Yautja hunting Spartan warriors. The Roman Empire? A gladiator face-off with alien tech. The Renaissance? A stealthy hunter stalking artists and assassins in the shadows. There's endless potential here. Of course, not every concept is equally cinematic. Animated projects like Killer of Killers are perfect for exploring different timelines, while full-length live-action movies will probably stick to more grounded, large-scale stories that can perform well in theaters. It's also possible that the studio still isn't entirely confident in these timeline experiments being big box office draws. That's why all eyes are on Predator Badlands right now. If Badlands performs well at the box office, everything changes. Studios don't really care about reviews anymore, they care about numbers. If Trachtenberg's movie brings in solid revenue and fans respond positively, another film is guaranteed. It might not be Prey 2, but Trachtenberg has openly said he's been sitting on a crazy idea for a sequel, an idea he teased not right after Prey premiered, but a year and a half later. So odds are he's got something genuinely special in the works. Prey was a gamble that completely paid off. It brought the franchise back to its primal core, turning the Predator into a terrifying, almost mythical force again. Gone were the flashy sci-fi shootouts and military chaos. The story focused on raw survival, tension, and pure instinct. That stripped-down approach hit differently. It proved that the series didn't need to go bigger to feel epic. It just needed to feel real. For Prey 2 to work, it has to build on that same energy, keeping things grounded and character-driven instead of blowing everything up into an all-out war. The biggest danger for Prey 2 is falling into the same trap that hurt past sequels, trying to go louder and grander at the cost of suspense. The first film ended with a tease of a potential face-off between Naru and an entire Predator fleet, which sounds awesome, but it could easily lose the personal focus that made the original so gripping. If Trachtenberg can find that perfect middle ground between escalation and intimacy, mixing scale with the stripped-down survival horror vibe, then Prey 2 could be every bit as revolutionary as its predecessor. And honestly, the franchise couldn't be in better hands. Dan Trachtenberg clearly gets what makes a Predator story work. His direction on Prey was so sharp that Disney basically handed him the keys to the entire universe, turning him into the James Gunn of the Predator saga. With all movies under his creative vision, we're finally getting a connected, cohesive story instead of a string of disconnected reboots. Prey was the comeback nobody saw coming. It restored faith in a franchise that had been written off after the 2018 flop, winning over both old-school fans and newcomers alike. Now, all eyes are on Prey 2 to bring that same intensity, keep the Predator terrifying, and give Naru the continuation her story deserves. If Trachtenberg nails it again, Prey 2 could easily go down as one of the best sci-fi sequels ever made.